This is a product video for Teckwrap's Fireworks Wrap Film, and here are the details. Product number RCH01, film type multi-layered polymeric, liner craft white silicone, roll length 18 meters, roll width 152 centimeters or 60 inches, comes in silver, gray, and white, thickness 8 millimeters, adhesive solvent polyacrylate, uses OEM paint. The box comes with extra protection on the sides to protect the film during shipping. On the outside of the box and in the core tube is valuable product information including lot number. The roll comes with a clear protective liner that should be removed just before install, and the face has unique reflection and color highlights. The adhesive is black and has Egress technology. The liner has a uniform grid pattern that helps to section the film up precisely during production and to help ensure that the panels line up in the right direction during install. The adhesive has moderate repositionability and squeegeeing secures it to the surface. When wrapping vehicles, the film will have to be heated and stretched at times. Be careful to avoid overstretching the film, as this will cause it to change color and hue. If this happens, pick the panel back up, heat it again, and let it shrink back to its original shape and appearance. Then simply squeegee. Fireworks wrap film can be fragile, so be sure to make enclosed relief cuts to keep it from running into the live wrap surface. And here are the prep details. Always do hard removals first, then a general clean, clay bar if necessary, degrease the surface, lower surface energy like windows with masking tape, and cut down the wrapping film into sections beforehand. Be sure to remove all hardware first. This can vary per car and require a variety of different types of tools and knowledge. Be sure to avoid over-removing hardware as it can take time and lead to overwrapping. For adhesive residue commonly left behind emblems, be sure to use a good remover and scraper to get the best results. Let the adhesive soften and it should easily remove. Next, remove the dirt on the main surface area along with any bugs or tar buildup. Using a scratchless sponge can dramatically speed up this process. With the main surface area cleaned, then put a squeegee in a towel and focus on all the edges. These are critical to clean 100%. Make a final wipe down, then lower any high surface energy areas like chrome moldings with masking tape to ensure high workflow during install. Place cutting tape on key areas, mainly where the film will be cut directly on the surface or to help the film get underneath hardware. Next up, measure the sections on the vehicle and mark them down on a cutting sheet. Clean the rollers so there is no dirt transfer to the wrapping film, then roll out the fireworks wrap film onto a cutting table. Trim and label the panels precisely in order to minimize waste, and now for the install details. Use standard color change tools, try to keep the film under 10% stretch, anchor the panels onto the sections with hinges, and use heat to relax the film on edges. With the tools set, first run a tack cloth over the install area to remove any specks of dirt. Then, remove the entire liner in one shot. This is called going cowboy. Place the panel in position and start on a flat area by squeegeeing from a hinge from side to side. Work the film in overlapping squeegee strokes, and fireworks wrap film can be formed into moderate recessed areas using a combination of heat and an application glove. Before cutting, set up all the edges with a finger and relax the film with heat. Click the blade so it's sharp, and be sure to cut on the opposite side of the section being wrapped. This will help ensure that the wrap film will hold for the long term. Once the excess film is cut out, warm the wrap film to soften it, then form it around the back edges. This is critical because it's a multi-layered film and calendared, so it will naturally shrink over time. Using special tucking squeegees can ensure that hard-to-reach areas are sealed 100%, and also cleanly cut out any areas where the hardware goes, like door handles. For areas like the back fender, always cut away the excess film with the liner on to use for mirrors or door handles. Now, because this is a curve, be sure to make the permanent hinge on the body line that separates the section from side to side. Once the hinge is set, squeegee the film in overlapping squeegee strokes from side to side until the material starts to bunch up. If this happens, pick the film back up, warm the film evenly, then stretch it softly to the edges. Once flat, squeegee the film onto the main surface. Doing this correctly will help avoid adhesive lines, which can happen when the film is forced on. For severe compound curves, like at the top, use the triangle technique to help form the film in without wrinkles. Continue to heat and gently pull the film to get it towards the edges without stress. Once the film is to the moldings, be sure to pick the film back up and tuck it in cleanly. Then, with a sharp blade, cut away the excess film. For severe angles, like on the back section in the area of the trunk, use the twist technique in order to relax the film just to the cutting tape. With the wrap film set, release the cutting tape and see how it is placed to help avoid overwrapping behind the backlight. This ensures low install times and that the hardware doesn't have to be removed again when the wrap is taken off. For steep drop-offs, pick the film back up and feed it into the next level. Again, use cutting tape when the film would need to be removed directly off the surface. And always run a finger after removing the excess film to seal the deal on the edge. For windows, be sure to tuck the film behind the glass for full coverage. Using cutting tape helps tremendously. On wide breaks, like between the roof and the sides, use heat first to relax the film. Once the film is relaxed, cut away the excess film with a short, sharp blade on the opposite side. This is technically a relief cut. Once the film has been cut away, run a finger on the top edge to form the film around so it will go in wrinkle-free. Then, once rounded, squeegee the film into the gap for a stress-free finish. Use the window molding to guide the edge of the blade in order to make a straight cut. Once the excess film has been removed, open the doors and then seal the film onto the inside portion. For severe compound curves commonly found on trunks, bumpers, and mirrors, it's a good idea to wrap these areas in sections rather than in one piece. Use the body lines or under the hardware to hide the overlaps. This is critical to do in order to avoid potential lifting down the line or distorting the finish. Use cutting tape for on-the-body cuts and make them symmetrical to the body lines. Wrapping in sections will help lower install times as well. When cutting out the excess film on the edges, angle the blade away to get extra film for hold. For overlaps, make them 3 to 5 mm wide or 1/8 of an inch, and keep them very symmetrical. Always try to wet the buffer to help reduce scratches on the gloss surface, then squeegee the fireworks wrap film onto the flat area first. Once set, use heat to form it around the moderate curves at the front. For corners, use the cold pre-stretch technique to relax the film onto the corner. Then be sure to cut the film out just on the other side to get full coverage and no wrinkles. Cutting the corners out roughly 2 to 3 centimeters on either side means the hardest parts are done first and the flat edges, which are easy, can be done last. For tricky cuts, like on this front headlight with a rounded corner, use a short, sharp blade and angle the blade into the section not being wrapped. This will give the edge extra material that can then be formed all the way to the edges for full coverage. Once cut, using a combination of heat and a micro squeegee can help form a perfect finish with no wrinkles. Mastering this type of technique will help avoid having to remove tricky hardware like the front lights. For bumper fender brakes, always cut on the opposite side and use the micro squeegee to seal the edge for full coverage. For bumpers, place the car on ramps and set up all critical areas with cutting tape to ensure that there is no stress on the film or cuts with a knife on the paint. It's critical to use 2 to 3 installers on bumpers in order to keep the film under 10% stretch. For minor recessed areas, use the palm technique to form the film in, then heat to relax on any areas where the film has stress. Make angled-in relief cuts around raised objects like exhaust pipes. If done correctly, the material will squeegee in with no stress and achieve full coverage. No need for an inlay or overlay piece. For recessed areas where the film is bridging the gap, cut in between this area to relax the film towards the edges, then cut away the excess film with cutting tape. This will help avoid overstretching and leave a negative gap on the surface. This means that thin pieces of mold and hold should be placed half on the wrap film and half on the paint to get full coverage. This is visual sealing tape and matches the factory molding on the vehicle. And here are the post-install details. Always edge seal underneath the entire car, post-heat all critical areas, reinstall all hardware safely, and wipe the car down with proper aftercare products. With the wrapping complete, put edge seal tape on all areas under lights, under bumpers, and rocker panels to ensure that the film holds for the long term. Reinstall all hardware safely and make sure that it works. Also, double check that the wrap film fully covers any visual area. Post-heat temperature is 210 degrees Fahrenheit or 110 Celsius, and it's extremely important to cover all edges, minor recessed areas, and curves. This is because it's a multi-layered calendar film and it has a natural 3 to 5% shrinkage. Post-heating ensures long-term hold. Also do a 360-degree check over to look for bubbles and loose edges, then wipe the vehicle down with an aftercare product. This will help keep the shine of the gloss finish and avoid dirt buildup. Do not wipe the car down with alcohol or solvents. And once the car goes outside, the unique finish will really stand out in the sunshine. When it's time to remove the wrap, be sure to use a lot of heat, either propane, heat guns, ire heaters, or the sun. Remove within 2 years of install in order to ensure that the adhesive comes off. It may leave between 5 and 15% adhesive residue, so be sure to have an adhesive remover that is good quality and will not damage the paint. For more product information, you can click on this link. Social media, you can go to Facebook or Instagram. And for other Teckwrap products, you can click on this URL. This has been a product video for Teckwrap's Fireworks Wrap Film, proudly produced by the Wrap Institute.